Good morning. We're on a bit of a heat wave here in Ireland and it's great. It's lovely and bright and fresh. Right, today we're going to make these little whatnot shelves. They're lovely little, do you know what, they're perfect for little room fillers. You know, if you see gaps on your walls and things where you'd like to put something. Out of this file you will get all 4 of these. This is what your PDF file will look like. Now I hope I'm in the right position here. I have my ruler up here now to try give me guidance so you can see everything. Now, hopefully that's right. Yeah, this is what your PDF file looks like, and out of this you will get 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. I'm trying to see what I have here. Yeah, these are gawky little plants I've made years ago when I was experimenting with clay. But you can see, you can just about see what you could do with them. Now, if they're too big for you, you can downsize them. All you have to do is group everything in at the one time and bring them smaller or make them larger, you know, whatever suits. This is 1/12 scale. I got the inspiration for this in a little cottage in County Kerry. I saw 2 little whatnot shelves either side of the fireplace. Now they were kind of like pine wood, but they were just lovely and quaint. So I said, I'm going to try my hand at at designing something similar. But that's where these came from. But yeah, so we'll just get on with it, and hopefully it's a nice quick one. Your files come in PDF. I'm trying to remember now. Brainfrog, DXF, Vector, PDF, and SVG. They should pretty much cover any machine that's out there, even laser cutting machines. Now, if it's a case that your file is not there, that won't work on your machine, just let me know, drop me a line, and I will definitely do the file for you. I can't think of any other files at the moment, but you know, if it's a case that there's a machine out there that I don't know about and the type of format it uses, just let me know. So this, I think at this stage you know what I'm going to say. This is your template guide. This is a very, very simple thing to make. But I am going to say, print them off and get used to using them, because when we move on to bigger files, you really will need to use them. So, you know, start small and build up. Get used to using them. Just count out your pieces. As you can see, it says shelf back glue 6, so you put 6 on there, and as always, every single time you use these, it's the exact same size as what you've just cut out, so you cannot go wrong. Like for instance, if there was 2 different type of shelves on this and one was slightly smaller, the pieces will fit, so you know you're not going wrong. I hope I made that. I hope that was clear. Even down to tiny little finicky bits that might come in. There's very few small bits on my files. This would be in around the smallest. But you see, they fit perfect. Just in case this is your first video to look at, I work in 1/12 scale and I work on A4. Your layouts will always be in A4. When I suggest make your file for the first time, make your project for the first time following me. And then maybe you can move on when you get more used to the way this goes. You can lay them out on larger pieces of card and things. Use everything. Use cornflake boxes. I've used everything. If my machine will cut it, I have used it to make this style of furniture. It's a great way for using upcycling old bits of cardstock. I always use 300 GSM cardstock for the purpose of these demonstrations. Now, when I use old cornflake cereal boxes, I play around because, you know, some boxes are thicker than others. So for now, just use 300 GSM cardstock. And then later on, once you know what you're doing and you know where your feet are, you can play around with all your boxes and things. Now, here we go. I'm just using water-based PVA glue, very simple glue. Inexpensive. What we're trying to achieve is just a light covering that you know it's going to stick, but it's not too much glue that it won't ooze out of the edges. Now, where's my ruler? This is my trusty tool, an old school ruler. You can use anything you like, a bone folder. Now that's slightly off. Now, I put just enough glue that I know it's going to kind of gently slide back into position. Just try to make them as even as you possibly can. Yeah, you can use a bone folder, an old, you know, those small little scraper tools that people use with clay. But as long as it's plastic, I wouldn't use metal, because metal will just mark and scar the card, and then when you come to paint it, it'll be all marked. It won't be very nice, very pleasant. Yeah. Woo, it's warm here today, I can tell you. I'm not used to the heat. I'm not very good for the heat, but I'm glad it's here for the children and all the families, because it's summer holidays and at least they can do things. Now, I'm going to do all three of these, even though it's a little bit boring, especially if you've seen my videos before. I want these smaller files to be reference videos where you see the full thing made up. Like if I were making the like of this, there's no way I could stick down everything. We'd be here. You'd be here till next Wednesday. Yeah, we're going as fast as we can. Yeah. Oh, I put too much glue on. See, it slides too easy. I'm going to turn it over and we'll work from the opposite side. That will help a little bit. We're on the last one on this. Yeah. I have an old terry towel, damp terry towel for wiping my hands in between gluing down. Yeah, I much prefer using my hands. I think I've said it many a time. You know, you could use a paintbrush. You do it whatever way suits you. Like the way I'm doing this now is probably someone's worst nightmare, but I find it just quicker and easier. You can feel, you know, it's very tactile. You can feel exactly how much glue is going on. If it's too much, you can just wipe it in your little terry towel or your baby wipe. I will tell you, if you're going to do it this way, using your fingers, wet wipes don't work very, very well, because after a while they get fluffy and then you get all sorts of fluff and kind of cotton woolly effect stuck to your fingers. So you're better off with an old tea towel or an old face cloth. Just damp it lightly under the tap, not saturated. And it works a treat for me anyway. Now, I hope I'm not too far over. Oh dear. I think this is my spot here, but I tend to just keep bringing everything back. Normally when I'm making, when I'm gluing down, I literally have it up in my face to try to get everything even. But if you see sometimes when I'm doing this and it's not quite even and it drives you mad, I apologise. It's only because I'm not close to it. I can't really see for definite, you know, if it's perfectly even. You're never going to get these perfect. It's the nature of paper and card. I'll show you later on what you do if you do get grooves or a bit of unevenness. All you can do is try to keep everything as even as you possibly can. That's all. And don't switch off after me just saying that. I'll show you. When I show you at the end, you'll be pleasantly surprised. Now, I know I put too much on that, so I'm just going to get my finger and take it a little bit off and wipe my finger. Simple as that. All you want is, I hope you can see it, a glossy sheen, but, you know, not too much. Because if it gets too messy, if it oozes out, it really gets messy, and it can be a right pain trying to wipe all the glue up. And when you're doing these, try keep your surfaces as clean as possible, as it'll benefit you later on when you're painting your project. This is the last one for this piece, and then we've only one more piece to do. I have no idea how much time has gone. I'm actually going a little bit slower than I normally would. As I said, I'd have it up close to me, and I can do these so fast. I mean, I could easily, within an hour, have at least 10 or more of these glued down and ready to dry. Yeah, you just put it back on its spot where it belongs. Get used to the habit. I know it's very hard to imagine because this is so simple, but when you get on to bigger pieces, it's very important you put things back exactly on their spots, so you know exactly where you stand. Yeah, this is kind of, I'd say this is one of the smallest pieces I have in any of my furniture. I'm trying to think, I think it is. Now, I've given you lots more extra of these. Just all you have to do is look at your template guide to see how many to... Now, it says glue 8. I'm only going to do 6 because I like them thin. There it is there, thicker with 8. It's up to you. But I've given you lots more extra in case you want to do much thicker, I don't know what you call them, supports. It's completely up to you. When I'm compressing down, I am going good and hard on this, as heavy as I can. This is another reason why try put as little glue on as possible. Enough glue that you know it'll stick, you know, and it won't move around too much, especially on a smaller piece. Now, my little dog is at my feet here. His name is Jerry. I should have called him Shadow because he is literally my shadow. He's a little chihuahua and I love the bones of him. It's like having a newborn, and it's like having an infant in the house all over again. My surrogate baby. Yeah. But he's looking up at me as if to say, "Who are you talking to?" And he's pacing around behind me. He's a bit confused, but there's no one here. Last one. Yay! I know this might seem boring to some of you, but it's important that you just get the general gist of how to glue pieces down. When I move on to bigger pieces, larger pieces, if there's an exceptionally large piece, like this one here, this is a love seat. I will take the time to show you how to glue down the larger pieces in these, but it's very simple. I mean, the likes of this one here, I would have this glued down and I'd say less than 10 minutes, all the pieces. I don't do hard. Hard does not work for me, or difficulty does not work for me at all. I've designed all my files to be as simple as possible, but to look realistic, you know. Right, so all that's left to do is grab your pieces and put them under a heavy weight. Because these are tiny pieces, especially at this time of year in Ireland, well, it's been scorching hot and dry for the past few days. We're actually getting summer since the weekend. But yeah, just leave it for maybe 2 hours. Now, if it was winter time here, I would say leave it a few hours because we have very damp and humid kind of weather here. Wherever you are in the world, a couple of hours, the longer the better. Now, if this was a larger piece like this one, you would have to leave it 24 hours at least in a nice warm place. Because if this was damp in any way, when you're trying to put it together, this would warp. And once they warp, that's it. There's no going back. There's no fixing them. So I'll be back in about an hour and a half. Yeah, it's actually been about 2 hours. I'm after being out in the garden with the doggy. Oh, I'm out of breath. Now, okay, these you can hear they're dry enough. They're not bone dry, but because it's such a small project, we will get away with it. Now, very, very easy. You get your glue. Now this glue is not the best. I'll show you in a few minutes what glue I'm using at the moment. So it's going to be touch and go if things go into place for me. It's not very tacky. Now what we're aiming for, see where the curve comes here, the very end corner, we're aiming for that. Keeping it even on both sides. I don't believe it, did I? No, I didn't. I thought I got it even for a shot. It doesn't always happen for a shot. Now, can you see? We want it even on this side and this side so it doesn't look crooked when you have it finished. I think I have to bring it up to me. I'm so sorry. Now, it needs to go up here a little tiny bit on this side. Oh no, on no side. Oh. Now I need good glue, I really do. This glue, it'd be great. It's okay. It's grand for when I'm using, you know, when I'm not doing tutorials. This glue is fine. It suits fine. It does what it says on the tin, you know. But for the likes of doing tutorials, it can be a right pain trying to get things to stick down. Now this is the shelf support. So it goes this way, if you can see. So it'll literally be self-explanatory when you're actually making up the piece yourself. We're putting glue on the top of it and on the back. Now we're going to try I'm trying to do this from a distance. Oh dear. Now. But that's not too bad. I'll move it up a little tiny bit. And now I'm getting there. Yeah. Now, my trusty little tool. I love this tool. I've said it on a couple of other videos. I bought a set of a nail care set for my granddaughter for Christmas last year as part of our little Christmas. It looked like a stocking filler, but I forgot to give it to her. And then when I came across it again, I went, oh, that's interesting. It's like a silicone top. It looks like a paintbrush. It's brilliant for taking off excess glue. So she's not getting it. I'll buy her another one for next year. Now that's it. That's it made up. It's as simple and easy as that. Now, I'm going to hold this so I hope the camera can focus. Can you see the ridges from the compressed paper? We're going to get rid of that now. I'll hold it just another second. Just if you can see the ridges, they'll be gone. They'll be gone completely. No one will know that this was made out of card. They'll swear it was made out of wood. So this is what you do. You get your glue and you literally just, what you're trying to do, put a good blob on. You're trying to dome it. You want it raised off of it and cover all the ridges. You can wipe off the excess if it starts to droop over the edges. That's no problem at all. It's not an issue. This is such a good way to do it. Now, I wouldn't bother trying to find, you know, I think somebody suggested spackling paste. I don't even know what that is. I imagine it's some sort of building stuff. But it just doesn't work. You know, you make your furniture bulky. This is perfect. What happens is this, if you can see how domed that is, just wipe off the excess. That dries flat and it fills in all the grooves. It's just brilliant. Now here's where I'm going to use my fancy schmancy nail tool to do this piece here, under here. I'll try hold it down so you can see what I'm doing. You're just doming it on. You want it raised. You want it blobby and globby. And then you can have a check of it then to see if it's hanging over the edges. I'm getting down into that little groove there. Now just wipe my tool, and you can just go along the edges and take off any excess and put it aside to dry. Now I would just do these two pieces first, and when they're dry in this kind of weather in the summer, that'll be dry in about an hour. You know, again, it depends on where you live, but for me here that will be dry in about an hour because the heat here is really, really hot. I think it's 30 degrees here today. Now that might not be hot to some of you around the world, but it's hot here for Ireland. Anyway, I'm going to leave that to dry over here. Now I have one that I've done earlier. I hope it's dry. It's not quite dry enough. No, it's not quite dry enough. So what we'll do is, I'll come back when that's dry, just so you see how flat it goes and you get the gist of what way it works. Yeah, that should be bone dry by now. It is. Now I'm going to show you. I hope this focuses. You can see the shine. You can see there where you can still sort of see the layers, but when you paint over that, it'll be smooth. There's the edges. This way of covering up the grooves, it's just brilliant. PVA glue, it's a gift. It really is. Now what we're going to do now is talk about varnish. I know I go on and on. Anything you use on this way of making furniture, have everything water based. Your varnish, your glues, your paints, everything has to be water based, so everything soaks into the card stock and it hardens it up, and it really does make it like wood. Like there is no one, like you would swear that was wood. It's just, this is made exactly like this from compress on the card. It's actually really cool. And I just want to say, I have this years. This was lying out in my, the doll, I've recently moved house, and I had a large studio out the back of my house, and it never had any proper heating in it. So I'm going to tell you, this was in kind of moisture, I won't say mouldy damp, but it was damp enough out in my studio in the winter time. This has never warped. Nothing. It's still the same as the day I made it. So it really does work. People think like, oh, it's just made of card, it won't last. You are going to make an heirloom piece of furniture that you will hand down generations, and it takes a lot of bashing. When I was designing my furniture, I designed it with my grandchildren in mind. I wanted them to be able to play with it, you know. And I think I've succeeded. But anyway, this is the varnish I use. You don't have to get this one. It's non-yellowing, it's quick drying, and it's a matte finish. But most important of all, it's water based. This stuff is magic. Paints, I use a lot of sample pots. You can use your acrylic paints. This here is, I have a lot of these pots. I bought them on Amazon a couple of years ago. They're brilliant actually. But that's just satinwood paint, water-based satinwood paint. I bought a medium-sized tin of it, and I poured some of it into pots. But you could add your watercolour paints or your acrylic paints or some of these, you know, bits of these sample pots, and mix your own colours. It's actually really good, and the finish on it is very, very, very nice. So what colour will we go today? What colour have we not got? I think we'll go with this. Let's see what this one looks like. I'm going to give it a good shake. These sample pots last a long, long time. Just make sure before you use them, give them a good stir or a good shake up. I'm going to leave that aside now because, as always, which seems a little strange, is I'm going to use my magic varnish first. This varnish, I love it. It soaks right in to the card, basically paper. In case I didn't say it, I probably did a 300 GSM cardstock is what I use. I'm trying to see which is a... And don't use your good brushes. Just buy cheap brushes. Now, I want you to do the back first, and hopefully you'll get to see. It literally soaks it. It eats it up. That's soaking down into the cardstock. I put it on good and thick, and then I go around later on and wipe it down so there's no streaks. I can see it now with my eyes. I don't know if it's showing up on the camera, but it's actually soaking. It's eating it up. I'll just wipe a bit off, and then I just gently go over it and make sure there's no streaks. It's as simple as that. Now I'm going to be very messy here and just try get the whole lot of it done in one swoop. I'm not going to... We'll let this dry. I'm going to just give it one coat of paint. My mission in these tutorials is to show you how to make the pieces up without maybe a bit of painting, but I don't want the videos to go on too long, because I'm pretty sure you'll all have your own ideas of what you do with these anyway yourselves. But what I will do is I will allocate a couple of videos to different paint effects, wood effects, brick effects, whatever, different what types of paint to use and mix. I will definitely do a couple of videos on that very shortly. Now that's it. Look, sure, it's nearly dry as we are speaking. Actually, I forgot to mention this varnish, I keep saying glue, this varnish dries, it's touch dry within 10-15 minutes. That's actually nearly dry now. I'm going to leave that there for a few seconds. I want you to stick around because I have something little extra that I've thrown into the download file for you. We have the paint spoke about. Yeah, I think we'll go with that colour. I think we'll go with this colour. I'm trying to think what else to tell you about while I'm waiting for that to dry. Yeah, if you just hang on to the end of the video, I've designed some tags for you. So if you want to sell your products, if you do craft fairs, or you can, I don't mind if you sell. You make as much as many as you like and sell them online. I really don't mind at all. The only thing I ask is please don't sell my files as is. You know, and I think that's fair enough. Now, I'm trying to think what else. I did this when we go on to there's certain other files that I have that have kind of little grooves in them, like this one here, this little apple box. A pokey tool is always handy to have, so you can kind of clear paint and glue out of your little grooves. I'm just killing time here talking about anything and everything. See if this is dry enough for the first coat. Look, that's dry already, just while we were chatting. Now, with the varnish painting over it after a few minutes, it's fine. But when you do your first coat of paint, I would leave it to dry overnight before you do your last coat of paint. A good few hours anyway, because you want to let everything dry out a bit more, you know. You want it to settle. Where's my brush? Here we are. I think this is the brush I used, is it? Oh, there it is. You want it to cure before you do the next coat. Now this is definitely, with this particular colour, you're definitely going to need 2 coats. But don't go mad, don't go thick, just take your time with it. And I'm rushing because of the tutorial. Take your time, don't try to keep it as smooth as you can and as less streaks as you can. Be patient. I think you all know, anyone who's used to making miniatures, patience is the name of the game at times. Yeah. I'm making such a mess. Yeah. Can you see how smooth that looks now after doing the glue? There's no grooves. after your first coat of paint is dry, if you do see some grooves that get on your nerves and you're okay, I don't like that, you can put more glue on, let it dry, and do your last coat of paint over it. Because it dries see-through, it won't interfere with your paint. Now I'm just going to leave that aside. Why is that? That's white there, sorry now. I keep bringing it in close to me. Now, I'm going to just leave that to dry. You can see definitely that's going to need another coat of paint. Now what you do is you let that dry. I mean, I would work on a few of them. I mean, you get 4 out of 1 page. You know, run off a couple of pages if you're going to, if you want to sell them or gift them, or they make lovely gifts. If you have, you know, if you have a community, if you're part of a community of miniaturists, they make lovely little gifts. I'd work on a few at the same time. Now, where am I? Yes. While that's drying, I'll just wipe off my fingers here, my messy hands. Now these are little tags. Very easy, just cut them out. Very straightforward. I wouldn't even bother trying to use them on the cutting machines. I just cut them out by hand. And what you do is you just literally match your bottoms with your corner here, with your side here. Get them as even as you can. Pinch it in the middle and then run across and you have your tag. Now I left a space here so you can write on it. You could write handmade, or you could write a description of what it is, or the scale, whatever scale you've made it at. And at the back it says handmade with love. I'm going to show you what I would do is, and we'll pretend these are both the same colour. I would put 2 in. And if you're really good at making, you know, those lovely pots and plants, I would put a couple of plants in to put on them. Now you would arrange them a lot neater than me. I'm just rushing. I'm all rushed because I don't want the tutorials to be too long and boring. Yeah. Just trim off your excess plastic. I designed this for a 3.5 inch. This bag is 3.5 inches. I still work in inches. I was born in the 60s. I can't let inches go. But you just put it, get it as even as you can. And there's my stapler. Grab your stapler. And there you have a nice, oh, that didn't close right. There you have a nice little presentation package. What you could do is you could punch a little hole there if you have little stands, if you do markets or craft fairs, or even, you know, dollhouse fairs, miniature fairs. You could just put it in. I have a tool here and I just can't find it to hand because I recently moved house and I'm still unpacking bits and pieces, but I have a tool. It's a Euro punch. It cuts a hole the shape of a Euro punch, and it literally fits any stand. But you can buy them online very easily. But anyway, I hope that's of use to you. And like I said, make as many as you like and sell them anywhere. I don't mind. It doesn't bother me. Once you buy the file, you know, the furniture is yours. The only thing I said, like I ask, is please just don't sell my files as is, as downloads. So you get four on an A4 sheet. Oh, I just use, I think this card is 120 GSM. That's all you need. I wouldn't use too light a paper stock. Anywhere from 120 up. Don't go too heavy. My printer is dreadful. It won't take heavy cardstock anyway. But so that's that. Now this, back to this. Like I said, just leave them overnight to dry and cure. Then you add your second coat. Leave that for a good couple of hours to dry then as well. Then add your last coat of varnish and just leave them till they're dry. 48 hours will see everything cured, and then magic happens. everything just tightens in. And it literally turns into wood, even though it's not, realistically, it's not wood, but it looks like wood. And I promise you, these are heirloom pieces. They will withstand a lot of damp if they're out in a damp shed, or, you know, obviously, like any furniture, any miniature furniture, if it gets wet, it's going to be destroyed. But like these have, like I said, this and this have destroyed, have survived out in my studio in my old house, and they're still solid, you know. So I hope that has been of use to you, and I hope you do try them out and let me know how you get on, and send me pictures. And don't forget, just to reiterate again, if you resize them, you make sure you group the whole thing and go down or up. I'm scraping me thing. If you go tiny, you might only need 3 or 4 pieces. If you go big, you might need to add an extra 1 or 2 layers, you know. So anyway, I hope this has been of use to you and not too long and boring. So for now, I'm going to say slán go fóill, and I'll see you the next time.